Yep, I've got an ice storm, snowstorm, and ice storm on the way tonight, and we've been warned by Xfinity that and my internet connection has been a little unstable tonight, so nothing I can do about that. Um,
No
so
worries.
just be advised.
All right, it's on you, Matt. Thank you.
All right, do you want to take the? I still see the poll up. Do you want to take that off or?
I canceled the poll.
I had to click mine off myself.
Yeah.
Gonna mute everybody.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and mute everybody. And then Matt, just unmute yourself.
You're doing,
And I'm
folks.
back. And I got you.
Yeah, that didn't come through. All right,
Are you still seeing it?
all right. Maybe this will. What's that?
Are you still seeing the poll?
No, I'm not seeing it anymore. I switched
Oh,
over.
okay, good, good.
All right, so um, this is a wooded box, a lidded box demo tonight. This is my contact information. Um, uh, what I've got here in this, and I'll send this to Dave. But what I've got here is the basic instructions. I'm going to be altering it along on the fly while I'm doing this, but we're going to start with this, and
Your audio is breaking up, Matt.
um, I'm going to turn it, and then I'm
Your audio is breaking up, Matt.
yeah, I've got no way to change it. I've eliminated all the resources I can eliminate. So
I think it's, well, I think it's your spreadsheet or your PDF that's draining it.
well, it's a combination of Zoom and vMix, and my
Yep.
resources are not doing well tonight. So, like I said, I'll switch off of this soon, and maybe that'll change it. But
Okay.
bottom line here is that I'm going to put a tenon on both ends. I'm going to separate it in the middle. One side's going to be the top, the lid, and one side's going to be the bottom. And I'm going to turn a tenon when I do that. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let me switch to here, and we're going to. And there's my little worldwide wood turners.
Hey, how about that?
So you know where you are. Okay. So all the boxes I'm going to show tonight. This piece of wood is end grain. The boxes I show tonight are also going to be end grain and they're matched. So like this one here, the pith is here. And you can see that the grain is matched there. So, okay, it's got some burn lines in it and a burn line to disguise where the lid is. Basic box and the tenon is here. And so this one is also in the reasons why I love making end grain boxes is because you can grain match the walnut and get the heartwood, and cherry and walnut are really good. And walnut is fun wood to do because you can use things like liming wax in your groove and design. Okay, so right, we're going to turn a box that looks like this. This is a little bit different in it's a shallower box. It's turned in three pieces. It's got a tenon that's turned separately, or a finial that's turned separately, and it's got on the design here. There's an OG in the lid, so I've got an OG that scoops this way and then uh, coves this way and then convexes into a bead to the top. Okay. Uh, Again, it's got a little bit of a texturing tool on here, and the base is just like this. And this is end grain also. This is not sanded. This is tool finish. The pith is right here. The pith is in this piece of wood. Um, so when I get some finish on it, it'll be pretty. and it's a little bit interesting. But this is the box I'm going to turn tonight, and that's the general idea. Questions on this so far?
No.
Okay. So, piece of wood on the lathe. I'm going to be using my deep bowl gouge for a lot of this. So the first step is to make it round. And it should be pretty round already. So I've got a 10, and I turned a 10 in here to save time. Uh, and I'm going to true it up. I turn the lid on this side so that I can leave it in the chuck, and it saves a step or two. So I'm going to come in with the parting tool, and I'm going to start making where my lid is going to separate. Now I'm going to have some waste on the bottom of the bottom, and I'm going to have some room here in the top. So about there is about right. Okay, so I've left myself ample room in here to make my walls thinner and to join things if I want to. So this is going to be my tenon. This section here is going to be the tenon that goes inside the piece. So if you look at this, that's this bit here. Okay.
Okay.
Here, switch back. It's not going. That's switching over here. Sorry, guys. We have tech issues.
No, that's okay, Matt.
All right, we'll see if this works. Okay. So, and then I'm going to part it off at the bottom of this tenon here. The lid from popping out, and you've got to make sure you've got enough room. It's getting kind of warm. Oh, so my tool just got bound up and thrown. So
Oh no.
I'll have to find it after the demo. It's a shame because I use that tool a lot. A demoitis today, so
Ah, you're using the word.
yeah, it's happening. Okay. All right. So there's my bottom. It's got a tenon on it, and this is going to be my lid. Questions so far? Okay,
No,
so
nothing so far.
the step that I didn't hear that, Dane.
No, it's all good. Nothing.
Okay, so let's go check here on the spreadsheet. I'm on step 5 here. I've separated the lid from the box bottom, and I've turned the tenon on the lid, and I made room. Okay, so let me go back over here, and so on a box where you want to put a knob on, then you would leave a more room here, okay, so that you could have room for the knob. Now, at some point, I could still put a knob on here. I'm not going to, but I could still put a knob on here, and because that is part of the knob. But make sure that that's the on the note here. Uh, don't know why that's there. So step 5B here is be sure to leave room for a knob. And then 5C is a note on grain matching if you use the thinner parting tool. Okay? All
Okay.
right. So what I'm going to do here is, oh man. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I am going to true up the bottom of this. And I'm going to do one of the first things that we have to remind ourselves to do is get my tailstock out of the way and remove my live center out of my tailstock so that I don't get turner's elbow, which when you leave something sharp and pointy in your tailstock and it hits you in the elbow. So what I'm going to stop that is I'm going to, and then I'm going to use the deep fluted bowl gouge and I'm going to hollow this a bit and I'm going to come across it like this. And this cut is not close to the center, not close to the center like that. And it's certainly between it's 45 degrees. This gets me a shearing cut. And I can take it all the way across. And use a pull scrape to get things cleaned up. And if I want to sand, I can. I'm going to use Zorby spiraling and texturing tool, one of the spiraling wheels. Okay. And the spiraling wheel has got a bevel on one side. Let's see if I can show that. Yep, bevel on one side. And the way you do that is you make sure the wheel can spin freely. An angle, and I'm going to move it so the teeth are on the beveled side. The teeth move into the wood like that. And then I'm just going to pull it and rotate it, pull it out to the outside. Okay. I get it moving. It's in the wood. Let's see what I got. I like it. Okay. Demoitis. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that yet. See it pretty. If I want to colorize that, Sharpie, I don't know.
Go ahead.
It's this purple. The Sharpie, it's this color. And I'm going to make sure that the first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some shavings and burnish this a little bit. To get some shavings, floor here. Then I'm going to get my Sharpie here. Get my lathe going here, and I'm just going to get the Sharpie so it's getting the top of the texture. And there's my texture. Okay?
Very good.
Very visible. I like it. You know what? I'm going to put a little bit of a, I'm going to add a little bit of a side of it.
Nice
Highlight it
border.
all. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. So now I'm going to go back here. Now, what I'm going to do now here is I'm going to put the first thing. So I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but this is this texture is coming down to the tenon to give us sort of a pagoda roof looking thing. And that's my goal here. So I'm going to put that bit in first, take that down to the tenon that goes into the top of the box, and then I'm going to start my OG here on this side here. I can finish it up after I get it. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this after you've sized the bottom. You're going to put the lid in and tape it and finish the top while it's taped with blue duct tape or blue paper into the lathe. And you're going to use tailstock support as long as you can. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that of the lip there in first, and then I'm going to put the OG in on the top of the lid. Ball gouge, but you could do this with a spindle gouge or even a skew. And if you wanted to sand it, you could sand it. So I'm gonna hit the corner of this tenon with a little bit of sandpaper. All right. And now I'm gonna come back on the other side and put in the little OG here. If you were ambidextrous or could turn left-handed, this would be a great place for that. The top of my piece to do the hit it with a little general principle. Okay. So this is the other half of the piece of wood that I parted off in the beginning. I don't know what this is a shear. I'm riding the bevel at a steep angle, and I'm going to clean up this because I don't necessarily want that. Switch to this view here. Does it do that? There's some audio issues. Lots of demoitis going on. All right. Now, when I do this, I'm going to be test fitting this lid. So it's that is about there. And that's good to have. You want to creep up on it. So you can hollow with impunity the stuff inside that. Again, I don't have a lot of wood here, so the bowl is going to be kind of shallow, but you're going to have enough so that your tenon will fit in there. But the goal is to creep up on that dimension and then test fit it so it fits fairly snugly. So I'm going to use the same cut that I used on the lid. Start on the tool rest, bring it up to the wood. Turn your lathe off when you change your tool rest. Okay, so we're gonna make another cut across the bottom here, and then we're gonna do some test fitting. Ah. Okay, see how we are with the test fitting. Questions so far? All right, I got some
Doing
ways
good,
to
Matt.
go here. Okay,
Doing
thanks,
good.
Dane. Nobody's saying anything, so I don't know if I put everybody to sleep yet or not.
No, now everybody is glued to the screen. If I drop the tool handle, edge of the tool, I get a much cleaner cut. Between your headstock, your center, and your lathe bed to do that. Back a little bit here. I'm going to clean up that rim. It's a little mucky. So we're going to clean up the rim a little bit. And I've got to make a little more room for myself here. Or you guys remember that Cheech and Chong movie? We were talking a little bit more for Santa Claus, a little bit more for Santa Claus. Magic dust. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say I ever watched Cheech and Chong.
I was in college,
Not my
people
cup
would
of
quote
tea.
it, so you learned it.
Yeah.
We're very close. Okay. So one of the things you can do is you can come in here with like a parting tool or a skew, uh, and change the shape of your, take a little bit more here. Now I tend to come in here with a little bit of a bevel. And the reason I do that is so that my tenon is pretty straight. But if I come in with a bevel,
show that what that looks like here. So I'm almost there. It's out a little bit more. So it needs to go, it needs to be just a little bit bigger. Make another pass with that cut.
Flip the camera.
Thank you, Dane.
You're welcome.
So I'm not taking much with these cuts. Just a little bit more. They're very light cuts. Now my next step is to I'm going to clean up the top of this. So this one. Okay. And I am going to just for the sake of because I can't a corded you guys have seen, and I sand with it. And this is a self-made pad. It's and I cut the sanding discs out of big rolls, and I just turn the lathe on. With sand the inside. Sanding discs. It's because I get a it's really crappy inside there. I got tool marks. Could be a lot better.
Well, it is cold there, so
Yeah, and I'm hurrying. Generate. Okay.
that's the reason why your tool froze up on you. The friction with the wood and the
Hard
coldness of
stuff
the
all
bar
died in
steel.
the last couple of weeks too. So
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start turning for the bottom. So let's switch over to this or the third page here. So weirdness going on here. Okay, um, so we've done steps 6 and 7, and we've done step 8. And now we're going to do step 9. And step 9 is put the lid into the box, matching the grain, and bring up tailstock support. Okay? So that's the next step. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grain match the two of them. Kind of issues. Okay. So stop. So still I've got it. Where is that where I want it? Is that? No, I think it's here. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm matching the grain on the side here. All right. And making sure that the now I'm not doing this on this piece, but on a piece like this or like this, do if I was making a piece like this at this point is bringing the tailstock support up is I will make sure that with cuts I will make sure that this surface is clean across the joint. Okay, are there questions about
Okay.
that? Does that make sense? Okay, so, but I'm not doing that on this piece, but I still want to do as much as I can on the so I'm going to work on that now. Okay.
All right.
So I've got the OG that's partially there, and I want to put the rest of it in and come across the top. Okay. So I get my tool rest positioned appropriately. It's my deep fluted bowl gouge, and I begin turning. Now I've got this section in the middle here that I've got to eliminate. So my OG, the concave part of this is going to change. I'm reducing it. The hardest part of any OG is managing the transition well. So I tend to do it with a scraping cut, a scraping shear, if you will. All right, that's about what I wanted. Okay, so now I'm going to take away tailstock support. So I've got to tape this. So I'm going to get out my masking tape. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Never a dull moment, eh? To the bottom. And what this will do is this will hold it in place while I finish the last bit of it. Now, what I'm going to do, and this is not on my little documentation, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a 1/4 inch drill to drill out the hole for my tenon for my finial. Okay. So on this one, little hole, 1/4 inch hole, and a 1/4 inch tenon on the bottom of my finial. Okay?
Okay.
Do that. So in order to do that, I clearly have to pull away tailstock support, and I have to put a 1/4 inch drill bit in there. So we're going to do that. Jacob's chuck, 1/4 inch drill bit.
Need to be very deep. I'm gonna take that bit off, so it's gonna need to be deeper than that, I think. Okay. Take this section off of it, so we'll drill it in a little deeper just to be sure. All right. Any questions so far on any of this?
No. Clear as day. You're doing a good job.
Take that out so it doesn't jab me in the elbow again. All right. Now, the only thing holding the I want to make sure I want to make sure that I take very light cuts. I'm going to do it. So
We'll creep up on it.
Nice clean shavings.
I'm riding the bevel riding shearing cuts. You're doing it right when the shavings are right.
Yep.
all right, and I think I'm going to need to go a little deeper on the hole. We'll put that back in and go in a little deeper. Just out of general principle. All right, it's deeper than I thought it was. Okay, all right, that's all good. Never hurts to be sure, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. So this point, all right. So the lid is pretty much done. So at this point, you get the this part always takes too long. At least the tape is on here good, right?
Yeah, amen.
Once I get the tape off, there's the lid. All right. Okay. So, okay. So what's left now is finish the bottom of the bowl of the box. So I want to make sure is that I don't funnel it. So I've got about
So, and there are various and sundry depth gauges you can use. I tend to just use my finger. So here's where my bottom is.
Yeah.
So now what I want to do with the bottom is like on this other piece is this is basically just a bowl, but I want to have a nice contour. And I like having feet on the bottom. And the bottom is slightly concave, so it fits on the rim and doesn't wobble on the table. So those are my criteria for this. I can begin just making a bowl here. There's a couple ways to do this. And let's see, a burn line in here, got a little groove for it. Come in here with, turn your lathe up in here with your burn wire. Little sanding. Bit. Got. Okay.
Now, I'm going to go digging for my tool here. I want to use it again. So it's in here. I know this is one of my favorite shop tools for you, Dane. I get
Yes,
stuff
yes,
from,
the grabber stick.
yep, get my stuff from under the lathe tool.
It made an appearance.
So looks like this
Right? That's handy.
contoured handle.
Nothing wrong with that. Not at all.
Oh, it's in the shavings here somewhere. I go digging
No,
for
it'll
it.
be right where it landed.
No, sorry, guys. I saw
No, it's all good. Like the term we coined, demoitis, it happens.
never had that happen to a tool before. So, all right, what can we use here? All right.
All right. Thin parting tool. So, extra room so that the tool doesn't bind and the lathe doesn't take the tool out of the handle like my other one. So, and I this a little bit too. So that means coming in at a slight cutting tool. And you've got to, make a relief cut so it fits in here and so on. And clean on. And I think I'm just going to cut it free.
Hey, Matt, it may be over by the logs to your right, underneath your tailstock.
Sorry, Dane, could you repeat that, please?
There's a perception that it may be over by the logs on the right-hand side.
Let me switch over here and see if this changes, and maybe I can hear you a little better. All right, try it again, Dane.
Okay, it may have bounced underneath the logs on the right-hand side, underneath your tailstock side.
What's that?
Your tool, it may be down by the logs there on your right-hand side.
I think that it was here. I see that when I tried to pull it, it went that way under the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I don't think it made it past the. It made it past the mats. So I think it's right here. But that's okay. I'll find it. No, not important. Okay. Yeah, I can probably pick it up with the magnet. So tape off of the rest of the thing here. So all that's left now is to make the there's if I can find a spot where the tape isn't. All I gotta do or the finial on the end there. Okay. So got one of these thingies that goes in my Nova chuck here. You guys know that I make a lot of finials.
No, we didn't
And
know that.
yeah, is a little different than a finial for than an icicle ornament or something like that. So um, I don't need that big of a piece of wood. This is just scrap box elder from the shop. I use a skew to make my tenons because the tip of the skew lets you get into this corner here and clean it up really well. So that's why I use that. I got these and I love these. So very useful. The finial I turned on this piece is vastly different than some of the icicle finials. It just has to be something that lets you pick the lid up. And frankly, having something really delicate doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but having something kind of robust to use as a handle makes a lot more sense. So that's what we're going to turn here. Just out of the way. Tool rests in better shape.
A little smaller here. I'm going to use a detail gouge. Big, make it smaller. Of course, you can refine these shapes with sanding or with a skew or something. So, come in here with the parting tool. A little big, make it a little smaller. Okay. Well, I'm going to pagoda-ize this a little bit too. Okay, so next bit is a little 1/4-inch tenon tool here, which is the 1/4-inch wrench I got from my corner pawn shop to serve as my measuring device. Pull it in, just has to fit in the hole. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Nope. So, and it's not modified in any way. I haven't sharpened the corners or anything. It's just a 1/4-inch wrench. All right, there we go. So I tend to take a little bit extra off just in case. Okay. Just sand it, I guess. Okay. So there's my finial. I'll get the tape off of here. And it needs a little sanding on the bottom. That's the general idea. There's my box, my lidded box with the little pagoda lid and a little different finial box. And there you go. Questions, comments,
All right,
Advice.
folks. Floor is open. Questions and
Question.
comments.
Nice
Yeah.
job.
Okay, Matt, when you did the texturing on the inside there, you went in
Yes, sir.
with your tool at a slight angle, got it spinning. Did you just pull it straight out, or did you kind of arch it as you brought it out to get that design?
I was pulling it out. So it was in there at a slight angle.
Yeah.
And then as I moved further out, I rolled the tool. I changed the tool. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So in and okay, let me see if it shows better here. Oh, let's switch. Hang on, guys. Here. Okay. Oh, I got dang audio. Okay. So okay. Kind of steep, but then as I pulled it out, I rolled the tool a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
So is to do this. You could go in straight and just pull it straight out. You could go in above center and pull it straight out. There's a lot of different ways. I got an interesting sort of little star deal in the middle there by doing what I did. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little sort of a 5 or 6 pointed star in the middle there. It's kind of interesting.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you for the question. That's a good question.
Hey, Matt, also on the texturing, you said to approach the wood with the bevel side of the wheel. What if you use the other side of the wheel? What would happen?
Let me switch. I'm sorry. Let me switch back over to the Zoom thing and answer that. Please repeat the question.
On your texturing, you said to approach the wood with the bevel side of the wheel. What would
Yes.
happen if you use the other side of the wheel? Would you get a different design, or would that create a catch?
It wouldn't necessarily create a catch if you're very careful about how you went into it, but it's more likely to tear the wood up. Okay. So on the spiraling wheels, you're supposed to go bevel side. The teeth, the cutting bit is where the bevel meets the top of the teeth. Okay.
Okay.
So if you read the instructions, and I read directions, so you're supposed to go in and push the tool at the top of the teeth on the bevel side. And one of the things to sharpen it is you take a honing card or a stone or whatever, and you sharpen it on the bevel. Okay. So that makes sense, right? If you're sharpening it, the tool starts to get dull and you're sharpening it on the bevel, then your cutting bits are where the bevel meets the top of the teeth. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. And when I buy this tool, it comes with like some teeth, some wheels have less teeth and some wheels have more teeth. I think this is the middle one. Okay. But there's one with a lot of teeth that makes some very fine spirals. Okay. And it also comes with a texturing wheel, which is beveled on both sides. It's designed to be just stuck right into the piece of wood without any, further ado.
Thank you.
Yep. There's a really good video out there on how to create textures with this tool by Nick Agar, A-G-A-R. So if you have this tool and you don't know how to use it, I strongly recommend searching Sorby Nick Agar on YouTube. There's a video. He's got at least 2 videos up there that are very good on how to use this tool.
Right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yep.
And we have
Matt.
we have
Hey, Matt.
one of our members from across the pond over in England, Chris Parker, who does some excellent work with the spiraling tool. And he's done a demo for us probably 3-4 years ago. But he's another one to look up and see some of the amazing work that he does with the spiraling tool. That looks good, Matt. Hold it up again.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I like the contours and I like the design. I'm pretty happy with that. And I must say that this design, there was a guy in my local wood turning club, Steve White, came in with a bunch of them that were kind of similar. And I really liked his design, so I've started exploring him a lot. And I like the OG on the lid a lot. I think it adds a lot to the quality of the piece.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
See? Yes, sir.
Very enjoyable evening. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Very enjoyable.
Questions for me, Al, about anything I did?
Well
Very
done,
enjoyable.
Matt. Very good. Thank you.
What when you were texturing, what speed were you at?
I was at 800 RPM, 795 or something like that.
Say again.
795.
Okay.
So roughly 800 RPM. And you know, like in our previous discussion, I mean, I get decent textures up to 1,000 RPM. Um, you know, part of it's like anything, right? You know, we're told to let the tool edge do the cutting and have patience. Same thing is true with this tool. Have patience. Don't try to moose it. Don't go too fast. Just let the tool do it. And you know, in our discussion with Doug earlier, same sort of questions came up. Just you know,
Right.
let the tool on the wood. The longer you leave the tool in one place, the deeper your texture is going to be.
Absolutely. And the cleaner.
Yep. Yeah, and the cleaner. Right. Yep.
Matt, can you pull out your tenon and recess gauge that you use and talk about that there? That's always
That little thing.
it always gets a little bit of attention.
Yeah, so this is number 3, okay? And there's a reason why it's orange is because 1 and 2 got lost in the shavings. I did eventually find the second one, and it's also has a brightly colored. Okay, so let me switch back over to here. So this resides on my tailstock quill. That's what the big hole is for. Okay, so the first groove here is minimum tenon size. So if I put this in my chuck and I tighten it down, first groove, that's my minimum tenon size. Okay. The second one, the outer ring, the larger ring, is minimum recess size. So there's the recess size. So I know that if I'm using if the outer ring fits in the recess I've cut, the mortise, it's big enough for the jaws. And likewise, so what I do is I leave it here on my tailstock quill. And it's colored orange so I can find it in the shavings. If you make one of these, I highly recommend you paint it something bright. Okay. And so when I'm turning a tenon on a piece of wood, I throw something on the lathe, between centers, I turn a tenon, I'm eyeballing this inner ring, the smaller ring here. So if I'm a little bit bigger than that, I know it'll fit in my chuck. Okay.
Nice idea. Nice idea.
Yeah, and I it's one of those things that you evolve to. And I saw some people who were doing a bunch of different things, and people have all kinds of ways to measure that. And there's a couple of really good ideas out there, but I wanted something simple, and I just started simplifying it until I was like, this is perfect. It's simple. You can make it out of whatever scrap wood you got floating around the shop. Sorry, future project wood. There's no scrap wood in my shop. So yeah.
Very good. Outstanding. Well,
Thank
if
you.
there's no further questions for Matt, or if Matt's got nothing less to relay on his demo here, we will let him close up shop so he can get back upstairs to some warm weather.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the kind words, and I hope you got a lot out of the demo.
Yes,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Yes, thank
Got a
you.
lot. Got a lot
picked
out
up
of
a
the
couple
demo,
things.
Matt. Got a lot. Got a lot.
Yep.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, and like after I saw those, this guy in my club, his and mine are quite different, of course. I saw them, and I was like, those are really nice. I can make one of those, and I've made a fair amount of boxes. I mean, I have a bunch of examples, but uh, what a great way to really up level your boxes and make something that's really sharp. So
You know what else? You didn't use a whole lot of wood. It was
no,
nothing there.
no,
That's
and
the
I,
beauty of a
and
box.
just
It doesn't take a lot.
yeah, and just in case you were wondering, Al, I've got like extra blanks. So
No, I know. But I'm saying what you did and what you showed. I mean, it was nothing.
yeah, it's not a lot of work, and
I'll tell you, it
this
was
is
very enjoyable. Thank you.
well, my pleasure, Al. Thank you.
What
And
was
this
the
is
size of that blank?
it was 6 inches diameter, 5 inches diameter. This one here is finish box, the one I turned today, is 5 inches. This is 5 inches in diameter. The blank was not much larger than that. It was like, 5.5, 6 inches in diameter. So, and I didn't really struggle to squeeze it into the wood, and I left ample room for problems and errors and, so.
That'll work. All right. Well, with that, we'll let you get back up to the house, Matt.
Thank you. And thank you very much, everyone.
We
Great demo.
you.
really
Enjoy.
appreciate the demo. I really appreciate you braving the cold weather out there.